QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Bank rules. Same customer, different income accounts. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Here we are in our bank feed test drive. We currently have the open windows open. You could open the open windows by going to the view dropdown, selecting the open windows list. We're now going to be considering specific rules within the bank feeds. First off, let's take a look at our profit and loss. So we're going to go to the reports dropdown, company and financial, profit and loss report to set up the scenario here, adjusting the dates 01/01/20 to 12/31/20. We're going to be considering this Amazon Prime. It should say Amazon Prime video. I misspelled it. Pardon me on the misspelling. But we're going to consider this item. And before we set up multiple items from Amazon, let's say that we upload videos to, say, Amazon Prime. And we might want to take all the information that comes from the revenue from Amazon Prime, group it into one category for Amazon Prime, video income. However, we might want to break it out by location as well. We might then say, I'd like further detail. Is there any way that I can see, where we're earning the income from, and maybe have a different line item here from the different locations that we're getting income from, and we can have a different line item. So obviously we need to break out this $11 and get more detail on that. So we'll practice that kind of system. So there's two ways we might want to see this. One is, well, if I have different names from the vendors, they're all coming from Amazon, but there's different names. Maybe I want to consolidate them together so that I can put them all into one account and make sure I have a rule that will pick all of them up and put them into the same account. Or maybe I want to use that distinction to differentiate and give me more detail, breaking them out into more detail. So let's take a look at that in the bank rules. So I'm going to go up to the reports up top. We're going to go to, reports, banking. And then we're going to go to the bank feeds and open up the bank feed center. So we are on the banking side of things, and we're in the recognized items because we've set up some rules already, and then we have the unrecognized items over here. So I'm going to go back to the recognized items. Now, when you set up a rule, we have these items from Amazon. We got the Amazon.co items, and we've got and I'm going to sort it this way. We've got Amazon.co, and notice there's a difference between the number here, right here, the 156 Amazon CO, the 58 and the 58 item, and then the Amazon with the 1614. So maybe these items are going to be different locations, right, or something like that. Maybe there's a differentiation. Sometimes you have a difference in the number, which might be from a location difference, which could allow you to then enter your data for different locations, or possibly have a rule for different classes that will be broken out by location, or maybe you buy different, or you have income from different things by location. Same principle would apply for the expenses, that you can use that to break out. So these are all coming from Amazon here. It's the same vendor, but we have these slight variances. We had another one that was EU that we already added, Amazon.eu, which was different as well, more different because it had a completely different name to it. So then we could make a general rule here and say any money in from Amazon, we're going to say that is from the video income, and I don't want to have any of this other information. I want to set a general rule and put it all into that same account so that it picks up everything no matter what the number is, and I don't want too restrict. In that case, I wouldn't want the rule to be too restrictive because I want all the Amazon income to go into one line item. So I can set up a general rule that would pick up everything even though the numbers are different, or we can set up a more specific rule and say, I would like to use those numbers to break out more detail, to give me more detail about the different locations. So let's think about that up top. Now, the rules that we made up top, we set up a rule already. I can go to, well, first of all, note that you can do the rule or set up a rule as you enter these. So if you wanted to set up a rule as you go, you can then go to the add more details as we've seen in the past, and then create the rule from this location. One way you can get into the rules. And notice this is opening up a prior rule that we had in place. I can close this back out. Another method is to go to the rules up top. This will show you the rules that are already there. If you want to set up a rule from scratch, you can go to the add rule line item up top and just simply add the rule from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and find the rule that we set up, which is this Amazon Prime video rule. So there it is. I'm going to go ahead and edit that rule. So there we have our rule that we set up. So we set it up as Amazon Prime Video because that's basically the account that we'll be going to. And we wanted to make this a kind of general rule that put everything in there, or we want to make sure that the two items that were included would go to the same item. So we have money coming in. We want to, when any of these are met. So instead of saying all of them have to be met, we made it more general, saying any. Either you have a description that contains Amazon.co, and we didn't put any number after that, or you have something that contains Amazon Media EU, which is something that no longer is down here because we added it. And if it has either of those two without any number, then we want you to put that into one account, which is the Amazon Prime Video account, grouping them all together. We could have made it even more general and just said, hey, just Amazon. I don't care if it has .company EU or any number. If it's from Amazon, then I want you to, and it's income, money coming in, then I want you to put it to this one account. So that would be like a general rule where we're trying to take a wide net of all the things that are Amazon and then put them into one account. What if we want to do the opposite now? And I want to say, hey, look, I want to break out the EU to go to a separate account of its own location, broken out by location, and then even break out this one more and use those numbers to break out basically by location. So I'm going to set up multiple rules. What I'll do first is adjust this rule. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to make this rule for the Amazon EU information. So I'm gonna copy this and change the rule name. I'm gonna remove the first item because I'm gonna make another rule for any Amazon CO name and break them out with more detail. I'm gonna say OK. So now we have a rule just for this item. Then I want to put them into an account down here. I don't want it to be going to the Amazon Prime Video account, but rather its own account. And I'm gonna make that the parent account. Amazon Prime Video is gonna, this is gonna be the rename to the payee. Now this is the vendor. Now you might want to have a separate vendor for like Amazon Media EU versus Amazon Company, or you could use basically the same vendor. They're all from Amazon. It really depends how you want to sort your data when you search for it by your vendor. And then now this is the account. I want to break out the account, and so I'm going to have another account which is going to be a sub account of that one. So this is going to be, I'm going to call it Amazon. It's going to be an income account. Let's make sure it's an income account because this isn't money coming in. It's going to be Amazon Prime, and then I'm going to say this is EU. I'm going to make it a sub account of the Amazon Prime. Amazon, which is totally misspelled. Amazon Prom. So there we go. Okay, there it is. And I'm gonna say save that. And so that's going to be the rule related to those items, and that's going to give us a subcategory, and I'm going to say okay. And then the other rule, I'm going to close this back out, and now we made that rule more specific. It's no longer capturing the other Amazon items and the recognized items, so we're going to go into unrecognized, and I'm going to sort this by. So now we have these other items for Amazon, and now we have these number changes. Let's assume these numbers are different locations. And then I want to basically put this in place by location. So then I'm going to basically, let's edit, let's go add more details. And then I want to add a rule for this one. I'm going to pull this to the side so I can see the number. Now I can see the number over here when I add more detail. And so I'm going to say, all right, let's add the rule. And then I'm going to pull this to the side so that we can see it. And so this is going to be rule name. I'm just going to copy this out. I'm going to say this is going to be Amazon.company 1563181 ED. I'm just going to copy the thing exactly. And then I want to make a rule, and I could say all or any of these items. I'm going to keep it at all at this point. We're going to have the description. I'm going to want it to match. We could still go to contains in case they change like something little. But I'm going to say contains maybe, and then maybe I don't need this in component here. Maybe I just need the number. So I want it to be an Amazon Company 156381. And then we're going to go down to the payee. Now, again, we're breaking this out to a different item. If you want to sort it by vendor and have your different payments for the different locations sorted by vendor to a different vendor, you could set up a different vendor, or you can just keep the same Amazon Prime vendor here. And then the category that we want, I'm going to add a category, and I want to make it a subcategory of the Amazon Prime videos again. So I'm going to say this is going to be another account. I want to make sure it's an income account. So I'm going to say it's an income account because this is money coming in. Same idea for money going out, however. And then I'm going to say this is Amazon Prime, and then I'm going to say location, and then I'll make the differentiation of the number. I'll just call it 181 location. And then I want to make that a subcategory of Amazon Prom. Yeah, there it is. So then I'm going to say save, and there we have that, and then there's our rule. So that should break it out and make it more specific, even though they're all from basically the same customer, Amazon. It should be a more specific rule to break out to a more specific account. So I'm going to say save on that, and must have assigns in the split. So I'm going to say, and I haven't assigned this one out. So this one, I'm going to cancel this one for now. And then if I look back in on it, it should bounce over here to the recognized items. So I didn't save it. I canceled it because I didn't add the account to it yet. And then I'm going to browse. So these items, and I'm looking for Amazon. So there they are. So there's the ones we just set up. So these two are now recognized now. So those two are recognized. If we were to, I want to unselect these and just add these two. And then I'm going to batch add them. So let's add and confirm. And then I'll say yes. And then okay. Let's go back to the P&L now. Back to the P&L and yes. And so now we've got this Amazon Prom. And we've got the 181 here. So there's the 181 and there's the location. So now we got it broken out kind of like by location. So now let's go back to the bank feeds and let's do another one. Let's go back to uncategorized for the other ones that weren't picked up. So I'm going to call this another location. So I'm going to say, all right, let's go ahead and add that. So bank rule, and then I'm going to say add more details. Now we might want to enter the details in here first. It'll help us to populate the rules possibly. So this is going to be received from, I'm going to say Amazon. I'm going to use the same vendor again. We could set up another one for the different location, and it's going to be from, and this will be the account. So I'm going to add another account, which will once again be a subcategory account. And so I'm going to say this is going to be an income account, and this is going to be, the account name is going to be, let's say Amazon Prime, and then this is going to be the account number. Let's make it 4316, and then it's going to be a sub account. And this should be, let's say location, assuming that's a different location number. It'd be, all right. And then I'm going to say sub account. It's going to be of the Amazon Prime. And then we're going to save that. So there we have that. And then, so that looks good. Now let's make a rule from it. So I'm going to pull this to the right so I can see the detail. And then make a rule. So we'll make a rule. And so our rule has started to be made for us, the rule name. And I'm just going to say it's going to be the same as this rule name. They won't let me copy it. So I'm going to say Amazon.company 1614316. And then I'm going to say all, and I'm going to say it contains. And then maybe I don't need this in part. I'll just keep the number I do need though. And so, because I want to make that specific, so it's still going to be the same vendor. You could set up a different vendor again if you want to group it by vendor and see the information by vendor by two different locations. Even though it's the same vendor, it could be useful to break out the vendor. And then we got the category here set up for us. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and then say save that. Okay, and then that one has been saved. Now if I go back to the items to the right, are there any others that are in that category? No more in that category. So I think that was it. Let's do it one more time. I think we have another one for Amazon. So here's another one. And these two have the same number. So this one should apply the rule. So I'm going to go, let's add more detail to that one. Same process. We're going to say it's received from, I'm going to say Amazon. And we're going to say the account is going to be, we're going to add an account, and this is going to be an income account. Income account, it's going to be, so I'll say Amazon Prime, and this is location, and I'll say location is going to be 5012. assuming we know what location that is. New location. It's going to be a subcategory of Amazon Prom, and then I'm going to say save that. That looks good. Okay, and then I'm going to pull this to the right so I can see the detail in case I need it. And then I'm going to say this is going to be cap lock Amazon.company 1589120. I want it to contain just the name and the number, and then the vendor we're going to keep at Amazon Prime, and then the location category. That looks good. I'm going to say okay, and then save that, and yes. So now all the Amazons I think are gone now, so we've got them all uploaded. If I go to the recognized items, we then have one more Amazon that's now been pulled over for that rule, that specific rule. I'm going to go ahead and unclick these and just pick that one and then batch add it, even though there's only one. And was just going to say add and confirm. Add and confirm. What happened here? Did it add and confirm? And then yes. All right. And then I'm going to go back to the P&L and say yes. Okay, so now we have it broken out by these locations, right? Amazon Prime, and now I have the sub location. I can do the little item here. So once again, that's one. You could do the same for the expenses, of course. If there's some kind of difference by location, even if it's just a number, then you can kind of use that to give you more detail, to give you more information about location that you might be able to differentiate, or any other kind of difference that you want going into a different type of account.